My family abandoned my son's funeral only to demand his $300,000 trust for a wedding. Sarah stood in front of the cracked mirror in the dimly lit bathroom of the diner, her reflection a fragile shell of the woman she once was. The emptiness in her heart echoed the same silence that lingered in the air after she received the call. Jake was gone. The urgency of arranging his funeral had seized her life, drowning out the reality of her own grief. Thoughts raced through her mind, tangling with the guilt of still needing to breathe in the wake of her son's absence. Jake had dreams, bright ones, of entering the world of academia. The kind of dreams that had her working double shifts and missing time in class to make sure their lives meant something, to lay a path for his future. But now, here she was, sitting in a funeral home filled with flowers and memories, forced to confront the darkness of her estranged family, who had arrived, faceless as shadows, only to turn their backs on Jake moments later. It was a blatant exhibition of indifference that twisted her stomach into knots. How could they? Did they really care? The irony of their presence left her feeling nauseous, eager for the trust fund, yet refusing to honor the young man whose life had barely begun. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. With a sigh, she wiped away the smeared mascara, threatening to betray the calm facade she wore for the sake of the funeral. The ceiling felt low, suffocating her thoughts. Memories of Jake flickered through her mind, the frequent laughter that once filled their tiny home, now replaced by an unsettling void. For every lesson she taught him about integrity and kindness, her family was erasing it all behind a last name and a bank account, eager to drain Jake's trust fund for their cousin's extravagant wedding. How dare they think they could reach into her son's legacy for their shallow pursuits? What do you want? She demanded in her thoughts, reliving the conversations she'd yet to have and wished she could avoid. Grief was being replaced by anger, and her heart raced with the looming confrontation. The thought of standing before them, eyes blazing, unleashing her fury, overwhelmed her. Her hands trembled with the desire to defend everything Jake had stood for. What if she failed him? As the days passed, the tension weighed heavier, crushing her chest and extending the pain of loss into a battlefield. Would they label her the bitter single mother, traitor to their family? She felt her resolve waver, fear tangling with that flicker of defiance. But as she prepared for the onslaught, determination swelled inside her, a need to protect her son's memory. It was the only connection she had left, a solitary thread within a tapestry of her shattered hopes. But the pressure was mounting with the day of reckoning approaching. Would she find the strength to confront their sense of entitlement? Or would the burdens of familial obligation suffocate the last vestiges of her fight? With every breath, she was standing at a precipice, fighting for her son's honor while grappling with chaos within. Sarah stepped out of the dim restroom, the stir of the diner's ambient noise pulling her from her tumultuous thoughts. She put on a composed expression, smoothing her hair back as though it could also tame her rising anger. The clatter of silverware and the low hum of chatter only served to amplify the anxious energy buzzing inside her. Each step toward the booth where her relatives had gathered felt heavier, a gravitational pull of dread she wasn't sure she could resist. As she approached, their laughter echoed like daggers through her heart. These were the people who, mere days prior, had abandoned her when she needed them the most. They were now animatedly discussing wedding plans, oblivious to the anguish radiating from her presence. It was infuriating, their indifference wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket, blinding her with rage. "Sarah?" One of them turned, a hollow smile plastered on her cousin's face, a conspicuous pretense of warmth. "We're just planning how to celebrate. It's going to be beautiful." "Celebrate?" The word slithered from her mouth like venom. "You think this is a time for celebration?" The laughter faded, replaced by hesitant glances exchanged among her family. Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline. She was tired of hiding her pain. No more silence, no more placating their insensitivity. "I lost my son," she continued, her voice steady despite the tempest within. "And you all act as if the only thing that matters is a trust fund? Jake deserves respect, not your opportunistic planning." "Respect? Come on, Sarah. You know this money could go to something wonderful. Isn't that what he would have wanted?" her cousin argued, a tinge of indignation coloring her tone. "Do you even hear yourselves?" Sarah's heart raced. "You're willing to exploit his absence for some extravagant wedding? This isn't about money. This was about a life cut short, dreams unfulfilled." The silence that lingered now felt suffocating, her family's discomfort palpable. Sarah glanced around, searching for one flicker of acknowledgement, a tiny sign that someone might understand the depth of her loss. But all she found were averted eyes and shifting bodies. The betrayal felt raw, a fresh gash reopening with every heartbeat. Jake deserved to be celebrated. His story mattered more than any payout. Remembering his laughter, his aspirations, sparked a small flame of hope within her. This was the moment she had envisioned, her opportunity to reclaim Jake's narrative, to shift the focus onto what really mattered. Jake was kind, passionate, and had plans for his future. She leaned forward, her voice a whisper dripping with conviction. He would have refused to let you tarnish his memory for your fleeting desires. As she spoke, a realization began to crystallize within her, a revelation about her own untapped strength. She had fought for the chance to give Jake the life he deserved, and she could do that for him now, even in his absence. She could be a warrior for his legacy and assert boundaries that she had neglected far too long. The conflicting emotions surged, but within this storm arose clarity. Every shift in her family's demeanor, every ounce of pushback they presented became fuel for her resolve. She wasn't just defending her son's honor, she was staking a claim on her own identity, no longer defined by the shadow of her family's expectations or perceptions. The moment felt electric, dangerous, and invigorating all at once. "It's time to honor Jake properly," she announced, the words rolling off her tongue like an incantation. "And I will not let any of you destroy what he stood for." The silence was suffocating, but in it, Sarah found a newfound strength. She was ready, prepared for the pushback, ready to face the ugly truths of her family's greed. It was just the beginning, and she sensed that this confrontation was only the tip of the iceberg. Would they back down, or would they fight for a claim to the trust? With her heart racing and determination beating in her chest, she steeled herself for what lay ahead. The time had come to confront them, but the stakes were higher than she had ever imagined. The moment stretched, suspended in an uncomfortable silence as her declaration hung in the air. Sarah's heart thundered in her chest, each beat echoing a mix of desperation and determination. She never anticipated confronting her family with such stark honesty, nor did she know exactly what would come next. It would have been easier to remain silent, to conform to their expectations, and play the role of the grieving mother while they maneuvered their way through the financial abyss before her. She could feel their eyes bore into her, some challenging, others perplexed, as they processed her words. A few seconds passed, and the instinct to retreat flickered tantalizingly in her mind. Yet she pivoted on the edge of that impulse, embracing its opposite. This was her battle now. "Sarah, you're being dramatic," her cousin finally shot back. "You can't dismiss our plans. We're trying to look out for everyone, including you." "The only thing you're looking out for is your own comfort," Sarah retorted, a fierce heat rising in her cheeks. "My comfort doesn't include reducing Jake's life to a dollar figure. You think buying a new dress will wash away the pain? It won't. Where were all of you when I needed help organizing his memorial, when I had to face it alone? Staring into the hollow expressions of her family, she felt a mix of sadness and disbelief wash over her. Each furrowed brow and tight-lipped frown spoke volumes of their struggle to reconcile her grief with their aspirations. But it lit a fire in her. This wasn't just about money or weddings. This was about everything she had lost and reclaiming her son's memory against their insensitivity. I have fought to hold on to my son's legacy by sharing his story, she said, her voice picking up strength born from the depths of her sorrow. You think planning a wedding is a tribute to him? It's a betrayal, plain and simple. Her words drew a quiet gasp from one corner of the booth, and she seized the moment, her heart pulsing with a growing sense of power. Each of you keeps hiding behind the trust fund you expect to benefit from, but I refuse to let you erase who Jake was. The world doesn't work that way, another cousin interjected, anger mingling with disbelief. You can't just throw away financial security. You have to think logically. Logic can't make up for lost lives, Sarah snapped back, feeling a rush of clarity. She wrestled with realizing how her family's disregard for her pain mirrored her own long-standing neglect of her voice. For too long, I've let you dictate my reality, but not anymore. Her family bristled at the sharp truth hidden in her revelation. They were both her allies and antagonists, embedded within the tangled dynamics of love and obligation. No longer could she hold their opinions above her own. With each word, the boundaries she needed to establish began to emerge vividly in her mind, fortified by a new sense of self that she had almost forgotten. I will not stand back while you barter with my son's memory, so you can use his legacy to elevate your own lives, Sarah declared, her confidence solidifying as she prepared for their inevitable rebuttal. I'm going to create a foundation in Jake's name, a place where his dreams and passions for helping others can be honored. It will not be a playground for your ambitions. The opening she hoped for was there before her, and rather than flinching at the possible fallout, she leaned into the adrenaline coursing through her veins as she challenged the very structures that had imprisoned her for too long. But just as she turned to make her way out, she felt a hand curl around her wrist, holding her in place. You're making a huge mistake, Sarah. We can't let this go. We deserve some of that money, just like you. You can't deny what you know is right. The air thickened as tension tightened between them, a palpable pull that blurred the lines of family loyalty and resentment. The fight was no longer just for her son's honor. It was for herself, standing alone in the shadows of those who demanded a piece of her heart. Tread carefully, she warned, her voice low and measured. This is not just about the money. It's about legacy and love and a mother's will to fight for what's truly right. The clash before her loomed large, and she braced herself for whatever came next. Her journey toward asserting herself had taken an irreversible turn, but the hardest battles lay ahead. Would they dare to push against her newfound strength? Or would her resolve be enough to reshape the attitudes that had long dictated her life? Only time would tell. As Sarah stepped out of the booth, the clamoring of dissent echoed behind her. Each of her family's incredulous voices melded into a cacophony that threatened to tear her resolve. Breathless with conviction, she reminded herself that she had breathed life into her defiance, not only for Jake, but to reclaim her own narrative. The doors swung closed, muffling their protests and creating a crisp barrier between the chaos behind her and the burgeoning clarity ahead. The dimly lit diner transformed into a temporary safe haven where she could gather her thoughts without the weight of familial judgment pressing down on her. Yet, as the neon glow of the open sign flickered outside, illuminated by a late afternoon sun, she could still feel the tremors of confrontation tingling in her fingertips. Sarah grasped her phone, thumb hovering over a text she hesitated to send. It had been over a month since she last connected with Jake's closest friends. They needed to know about her plans, her intention to honor Jake's memory through the foundation. But the pull of doubt lingered. She was terrified of both their support and potential judgment. Would they see her as a warrior or a fool? Those questions swirled, insufficiently addressed, but she knew that forcing herself down this path would demand pushing through this uncertainty. With a deep breath, she composed her message, finding strength in the notion that vulnerability didn't equate to weakness. "I'm creating a foundation in Jake's name. I want his friends to help me tell his story. We need to keep his memory alive. When can we meet?" She pressed send, and a torrent of emotion mingled with fleeting excitement coursed through her. This was a step, however small, toward building something meaningful, a true legacy for Jake. Yet, beneath that enthusiasm lay the realization that crawling from the shadows had merely shifted her battlefield. Her family's discontent lingered like storm clouds on the horizon, threatening to unleash their thunder at any moment. As her phone buzzed with replies, she glimpsed messages filled with surprise, excitement, and unwavering support. It filled her with a renewed vigor. Interacting with Jake's friends grounded her, as each reply etched away at the cobwebs that had dulled her perception. The drain of the familial conflict faded with every supportive exchange. Yet, amid the warm sentiments from his friends, a niggling thought persisted. Could she navigate the storm brewing back at home? They wouldn't surrender easily. The stakes were too high. In the realm they occupied, every exchange sifted through the lens of grievance and entitlement. She would need to confront them again, this time on her terms. The buzzing crescendo of the diner began to fade as she stole glimpses outside, assessing the gathering clouds overhead, almost mirroring her turmoil. "Enough hiding," she murmured to herself, summoning the last remnants of resolve. Each decision had led her to this juncture, a reconciled vision of her son's legacy against the pull of familial obligations. As she confronted this truth, uncertainty knotted her stomach, propelling her forward even further into the fray. That evening, the unmistakable tension settled over her as she prepared for the inevitable confrontation. She visualized the interactions, bobbing between hopeful optimism and growing dread. With prepared notes clenched in her fist, Sarah stood in the living room, confronted by the reminder of her family's expectations reflected in the pristine wedding invites nestled on the coffee table. They painted her mere presence in their plans, not as an equal, but as a sidebar to their ambitions. Taking a steadying breath, she re-entered that chaotic familial space, no more retreating. This time, she was ready to challenge them face to face. In that moment, as the door creaked open, the resolve within her became clearer. The moment had arrived to truly face them. Would they recognize her strength or still see the daughter and mother they had long struggled to understand? As she braced herself for the rising clash, one thing was certain: she could no longer be their shadow. The family room felt stifling, as if the air itself conspired against her resolve. Sarah stepped deeper inside, her pulse steadying with each calculated breath. Familiar faces, set against their polished environment, reflected a world that hadn't changed, while hers had been transformed forever by loss. They laughed, sipped drinks, oblivious to the disparate weight of her grief and intent. "Sarah, honey, we were just discussing the seating chart for the reception." Her sister's voice broke through the tension, filled with a cheerfulness that felt foreign. It made Sarah's stomach churn with irritation. How could they focus on such trivialities amid the wreckage of their shared history? "Can we talk?" Sarah interjected, her tone threading authority into the chaos. The room fell silent, every head turning toward her, surprise slowly morphing into apprehension. "About what, Sarah?" her mother asked, a slight furrow marring her brow. "About Jake," Sarah began, those two syllables carrying the weight of 1,000 emotions, the hope, the despair, the unfulfilled promises. "His legacy, what he meant to all of us, and how I intend to honor that through the foundation I'm starting in his name." "Foundation? In his name?" her brother scoffed, his scoff sharp and jagged. "What's the point? We're planning a wedding here." "For whom?" Sarah challenged, stepping forward. "For you or for Jake?" because it seems that you've forgotten he existed, much less the impact of his life." The sharpness of her words shocked the air around them. Her brother shifted nervously, and her father folded his arms, defensive and dismissive. She pressed on, fueled by a cocktail of fury and the deep love she'd harbored for her son. All of this, she gestured around the room, encompassing their aspirations, their distractions, doesn't mean a thing if we don't recognize Jake's struggles, his triumphs. This wedding, it's not what he would want. We should be doing more. A moment of stillness ensued, as if the gathering clouds outside had seeped in, creating a palpable tension. Her mother's voice trembled, edged with concern. "You're being unreasonable, Sarah. You know how much this means to us. We are just trying to move forward." "Move forward?" Sarah echoed incredulously. "Moving forward without acknowledging the pain doesn't equate to progress. I refuse to do that anymore. For Jake's memory, we have to stand up and fight for what truly matters." The space between them seemed to stretch, filled with an unvoiced judgment and a growing realization. Her mother's voice trembled, edged with concern. "You're being unreasonable, Sarah. You know how much this means to us. We are just trying to move forward." "Move forward?" Sarah echoed incredulously. "Moving forward without acknowledging the pain doesn't equate to progress. I refuse to do that anymore. For Jake's memory, we have to stand up and fight for what truly matters." The space between them seemed to stretch, filled with an unvoiced judgment and a growing realization. Sarah could feel the tides shifting, her vulnerability shining a light on the havoc of familial expectations. Could they hear her? Could they take a step back and recognize her transformation? Not as a daughter in their shadow, but as a mother defending the spirit of her child. Each heartbeat echoed louder, reminding her that she'd stepped into this confrontation without retreat as an option. Jake deserved to be honored. His struggles couldn't fade into whispers amidst wedding plans. A sense of empowerment surged within her. "I'm not asking for your permission, I'm asking for your support," she asserted, her voice steadier than her heart. "If you truly care about Jake, show it. Help me carry his light forward instead of drowning in the glitter of your wedding." The silence that followed was heavier than the humid air, a battle brewing, a test of wills. What would they choose? In that charged moment, Sarah realized that she was ready to redefine her place in this family, ready to embrace the mother's fierceness she'd nurtured ever since she'd lost Jake. Would they recognize her? The potential for conflict lingered in the air, and she braced herself for what lay ahead. This confrontation was just the beginning. Pushing them was only the first step in a much greater journey toward authentic remembrance. "Jake's foundation will happen," she declared, seizing a moment of transformed clarity, "no matter if I stand alone." As the silence was broken by rival murmurs and discontent, Sarah felt the ground shift beneath her once again. Could this be the moment that would either unite or fracture her family further? Would they realize the importance of standing up for one another, or would they only see her as a thorn in their plans? The stakes had never been higher. The time had come to become fully unleashed. Air like a thick fog, suffocating any sense of normalcy. Sarah stood her ground, staring down the faces that once brought her comfort, now fraught with misunderstanding. She felt both exhilarated and terrified, an electrifying mix that surged through her veins as she considered what lay ahead. Was she really ready to take on this battle for Jake alone? In that moment, sheer determination replaced her initial hesitation. She thought of Jake and the promise she had made, the whisper of his spirit urging her not to waver. This foundation wasn't merely a project, it was his legacy, a testament to his struggles and victories. It was vital not only for those who would benefit from it, but for her healing, a stone thrown into the stagnant waters of grief that might one day ripple outward. "Sarah, you can't just dictate to us like this," her brother blurted out, his voice laced with incredulity. It's not fair for you to hijack this celebration. We have our plans." Her breath hitched at the accusation, but fury tempered it. "I won't sit idly by while we pretend Jake never existed, especially on a day meant to celebrate love," she shot back. Each word burned with a mix of pain and resolve, her heart racing, palms clammy against the weight of anger. "Enough!" Her father's booming voice brought the room to a hush again. "This is not the time or the place, Sarah. You know how much this day means to us." With each syllable, Sarah could sense a burgeoning rift, a growing distance between what was expected and what was necessary. What was the worth of family if they could so easily disregard the memory of one of their own? In her peripheral vision, she saw her mother's eyes glistening with unshed tears, reflecting a depth of sorrow that Sarah understood, but at that moment could not indulge. "Do you really believe that getting married is more important than honoring Jake?" she asked, her voice quiet but firm, challenging their priorities. "What kind of family moves forward without acknowledging the person we lost? If we celebrate today without his memory, we are just playing dress-up." "Do you think this is easy for us?" her mother countered, the strain evident in every word. "You're not the only one grieving, Sarah. We're all trying to cope. Can't you see that?" "Coping by pretending everything is fine?" Sarah pressed, the tremors of doubt and anger battling within her. "You're avoiding the truth. If we truly cared, we would honor him. This foundation needs to happen, and we can help each other through it. I can't do it alone. We shouldn't be divided by his memory. We should be united in it." The silence that followed her declaration felt pregnant with possibility, or perhaps dread. She could sense the shifting tides in the room, a collective weighing of her words. Was this the moment they would finally choose to stand with her, or would they retreat further into denial? Within her, doubt lingered, whispering that perhaps she was the one out of step, a discordant note in their melody of coping. But then she recalled the sadness in Jake's eyes during their conversations about dreams and aspirations. She would not betray that memory by stepping back now. As familial allegiances wavered, Sarah resolved she could not wait any longer for their approval. She had already been given so much. The next step required action, a planning meeting, a gathering devoted to forging a pathway for Jake's foundation. It was as much a realm of hope as it was of honor, and she needed to lead it, with or without their blessings. "Fine," she said finally, the weight of her words heavy in the room. "If you won't help, I will do this my way. I will start the foundation with or without you. You need to understand that Jake's spirit cannot just be swept aside." Each heartbeat rang in her ears as she spun away from them, a crescendo of resolve crescendoing through her. She glanced back only once, each family member caught in the stranglehold of their conflicted loyalties. "Tomorrow, I'm setting a meeting for anyone who wants to truly partner in his legacy," she declared, transforming her grief into a rallying point. "Meet me at the coffee shop on Main. You can plan your wedding without me, but I won't be silenced." With that, she stormed into the hallway, her pulse pounding a rhythm of determination. The door swung shut behind her as she stepped outside, a heady mix of fear and urgency filling her lungs. She was committed, and there would be no turning back. Was she strong enough to carry this burden alone, or had she inadvertently severed ties with her family entirely? In the depths of her determination lay the possibility of either alienation or empowerment. Only time would reveal the truth of her path. Would others join her in this defiance, or was she truly destined to fight this battle single-handedly? As she walked away, she couldn't shake the feeling that every decision from here out would reshape her fate. Sarah leaned against the cool brick wall of the coffee shop, her mind racing as she prepared for the meeting. The sun hung low in the sky, casting golden light that directly illuminated the urgency in her heart. She had never envisioned her life would come to this, a confrontation with her family over a legacy that was meant for love, understanding, and hope. Today, the stakes were higher than anything she had faced before. As the minutes crawled by, Sarah wrestled with her thoughts. Each tick of the clock magnified her anxiety. What if no one showed up? What if they did come, only to refuse her again? She had opened a door to her family's grief, hoping it would lead them back to her, but fearing it would instead reinforce the divide. The loneliness of that thought clenched her gut, but she had to believe in the power of her purpose. Jake had always been her anchor, and now it was her turn to anchor people in his memory. The purpose of this meeting wasn't to create a foundation for herself. It was to build a refuge for the dreams Jake never got to fulfill, a sacred space where whispers of hope could thrive. Her resolve crystallized as she straightened, each breath filling her with the determination she needed. She recalled the late-night talks they had shared, dreaming of a world where his struggles represented something greater than his pain. Today marked the beginning of manifesting that dream into reality. She wasn't just fighting for Jake. She was reclaiming her identity, reasserting her worth in a family that felt increasingly distant. The soft clanging of the doorbell broke her reverie, and Sarah turned to see her brother, Matt, walk in. His face was set, a battleground of emotions beneath the surface, and she felt a jolt of both resentment and relief. He'd come, but would he stand with her or against her? "Hey," he said, his words tentative, almost uncertain. "Thanks for coming," she replied, her voice steady but her heart pounding. Matt shifted awkwardly, his eyes darting around the cafe. "I don't know how to do this, Sarah," he admitted, the frustration laced with vulnerability. "I wanted the day to be for Mom and Dad, you know, but I didn't know it would lead to this." "I get that, but supporting them doesn't mean we have to forget about Jake." "I won't let him be forgotten," Sarah challenged, each word like a stepping stone pushing her closer to her goal. Matt's shoulders slumped slightly as he sank into a chair, and his gaze fell to the table. "You might be right, but how? How can we make this happen without tearing each other apart?" The door swung open again, revealing their mother, followed closely by their father. The knot in Sarah's stomach tightened. She had envisioned this moment with clarity, but now that the moment was upon her, doubt crawled back into her mind. This could easily devolve into shouting matches, emotional upheaval, and resentment. "Hello," their father said, trying to inject levity into a heavy moment, yet the effort fell flat. Sarah could see that he was wrestling with his own grief, struggling to balance the day's significance against the heavier cloud of their loss. "Thanks for coming," she said again, determined to steer the atmosphere toward cooperation. "I set this meeting because, well, we need to talk about Jake and the foundation." Her mother's face dimmed at the mention of Jake's name, eyes glistening with unresolved sorrow. "We thought we were coming here to prepare for the wedding. Is there really a need for all of this?" "More than ever," Sarah replied, her voice rising with strength. "We can't move forward without honoring our past. We owe it to him. He loved us. We need to show him we remember." The visible intensity in the room shifted as they all grappled with those truths. Would confrontation lead them to unity? Did support for one another even exist in the wake of such a tremendous loss? As she prepared to speak again, a chime rang from her phone, a message. Her heart raced as she glanced down, breath catching as she read the words that shattered the fragile expectation she had of this meeting. "What now?" Matt asked, seeing her change in demeanor. Sensing something monumental about to unfold, Sarah took a deep breath. "We need to talk about Jake's trust," she stated, raising her voice to command attention as a new wave of energy coursed through her. The future lay before them, heavy with unanswered questions and unresolved feelings. Would they step forward together to fulfill Jake's legacy? Or would this be just another battle in a war that had already claimed too much? The silence that enveloped the cafe was palpable, a thick blanket of uncertainty that stifled any attempt at normal conversation. Sarah's heart pounded harder, each beat underscored by the gravity of her revelation. She had stepped into territory she feared might annihilate any chance of connection with her family. Jake's trust. The mention of it felt like invoking a ghost, one that brought the lingering resentments back into the open. Monthly payments from that trust had been the lifeline Jake had set up. Yet here they were, staring at one another as if the funds were more tangible than their shared memories. "What do you mean?" Matt's voice shook slightly, a thread of confusion mixing with the tension in the air. Sarah could read her parents' faces. Confusion was quickly morphing into apprehension. "I'm saying we need to talk about how we will manage Jake's trust moving forward. It was meant to support his dreams, not to be a bargaining chip for losing what we had." Her mother's eyes darted to their father, as if searching for affirmation or the courage that both of them had been missing. "We never even discussed the trust, because it feels wrong," her father finally spoke, voice heavy with fatigue. "Is now really the time?" Sarah felt a rush of exasperation, mingling with the desire to protect her brother's legacy. "When is the right time, Dad? We can't keep avoiding it like it's not there. Jake would hate to see us fighting over money instead of working together to honor him." At that moment, she realized that her voice was stronger than she had given herself credit for. It cut through the discomfort brewing in the room, something she desperately needed to hold on to. "Listen," Matt said, his tone shifting as he leaned forward. "What are you suggesting exactly? That we use the funds to start this foundation you've been talking about?" "Yes," Sarah replied, the word erupting from the depths of her resolve. "This trust could help so many others. It could fulfill Jake's vision. But we need to work together to do it right. Together." Their mother's eyes glistened, a mixture of hope and skepticism flickering. "But it's such a big step. What if we mess it up? We can't just sit on it and let it waste away," Matt added, his voice steadier now, embodying a gradual acceptance of his sister's vision. "It's bigger than us. It's about making sure Jake's memory inspires others, just as he wanted." Sarah felt a rush of gratitude as her brother began to mirror her purpose, each syllable reinforcing the conversation's seriousness. "This isn't about us anymore," she stated. "It's about honoring a life well lived." As the words settled, an unfamiliar tension formed, less like confrontation and more like a collective undertaking. She was not wrestling against their grief, but rather channeling it into something meaningful. The notion that they could be a united force for a shared cause startled her. Their mother pressed her hands against the tabletop. "But how? What if we disagree? What if each of us has different ideas about what the foundation should look like?" Sarah squared her shoulders. "Then we figure it out, piece by piece. We start conversations openly, without anger. Everything we create must carry Jake's essence." The four of them sat in silence again, absorbing the weight of Sarah's proposal. Each family member was grappling with the same question. Could they rise from the ashes of their collective loss? Even as uncertainty stretched across the table, she had never felt more alive, more driven. Before she could continue detailing her approach, another ping from her phone interrupted her thoughts. Another message, but this one felt different. Not a reminder of grief or tension, but a notification that sparked fear and action simultaneously. "I need to see what this is," Sarah said, her heart racing once more. She grabbed her phone, and as she read the words scrolling across the screen, the gravity of her next move settled deep within her. A revelation that could either tear them apart or build the foundation of something transformative. "Guys, I think there's more at stake here than we realized," she said, voice quivering with anticipation as she prepared to unveil a truth that could completely shift their course. Would her discovery become the catalyst for collaboration or a final nail in the coffin of their connection? The air crackled with tension as she prepared to reveal it all, unsure of what awaited them on the other side. The intensity in the cafe heightened as Sarah read the message, her palms clammy against the cool glass of her phone. The revelation loomed large over her family's grief, morphing the atmosphere from one of tentative reconciliation to trepidation. The words crystallized in her mind. Someone was making demands. The gravity of those demands threatened to unravel the fabric of what she had just started to weave with her family. "Who is it?" Matt asked, leaning closer, his curiosity blending with anxiety. Their mother's eyes narrowed, reflecting the discomfort. It's from a lawyer," Sarah stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. "They're representing a group who wants to lay claim to part of the trust. They're saying we didn't do right by Jake's funeral arrangements, and now they demand the funds for something that isn't even related." Shock rippled through the table, rippling against the fragile connection they had just begun to forge. She watched their reactions, the tightness in their jaws, the way her mother's fingers twisted a napkin nervously, and her father's expression, which seemed to darken with each syllable that escaped her lips. This wasn't what they had come for. This wasn't what Jake would have wanted. Someone's using Jake's memory to leverage a financial claim? Matt's disbelief morphed into anger, his entire body bristling against the unjustness of it all. That's disgusting. Who do they think they are? Sarah's heart sank further. Their emotions were escalating, the potential for violence bubbling just beneath the surface. She recognized that unless they confronted this as a family rather than as individuals, it could tear them apart. "Guys, we need to stay focused," she interjected, finding a sliver of reassurance within herself. "Those people don't know us. They don't know Jake. This isn't about them." Her father shook his head in disbelief. "We can't let them dictate what the trust means to us. We owe it to Jake and to ourselves to honor his legacy, not let it be hijacked." Sarah felt the fire ignite within her. Their shared hurt could turn into a catalyst for action. This was a moral dilemma that thrummed in her veins. Right, we need to put a plan into place. This isn't just about family anymore. It's about protecting what's ours, what's Jake's. "What do you suggest we do?" Matt asked, cautious but curious, eager to follow her lead. "I think we start by gathering every detail. We write everything down, all our memories, everything Jake valued, and categorize the funds. If there's a court battle coming, we have to be prepared," she said, feeling her heart beat to a newfound rhythm of determination. "But what if they drag this out?" her mother asked, worry flickering in her eyes. "What if it's too much for us?" Sarah's expression hardened in resolve. "It's going to be a lot, but we need to confront it head on, together. We won't let anyone claim what isn't theirs. If we work on this as a team, adhering to Jake's vision, we can fight back." In that moment, Sarah sensed an unspoken agreement forming. Each family member's gaze shifted subtly as they began to align with the shared mission. It was no longer just about resolving their differences over the trust. It was now a battle for Jake's legacy, his dreams, his hopes, and ultimately, their family's united front. As she moved to gather information from her phone, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this would test their resilience in ways they couldn't yet fathom. But she steeled herself. This was no longer just about what she could do alone. It was about learning to navigate the difficult waters of grief, loss, and guardianship for Jake's memory. Yet a nagging thought loomed in the back of her mind. In battling external forces, what truths would be unearthed within their family? What hidden fractures could this expose? Would the fight bond them further or push them back into the shadows of resentment? The question hung in the air, heavy with possibility. At that moment, Sarah knew they were standing on the precipice of something monumental, and she was determined to guide them through it, if only she could uncover the answers to the turmoil that brewed beneath the surface. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions and decisions. Sarah found herself buried in paperwork and logistics for Jake's foundation, fueled by the knowledge that this was her opportunity to transform her grief into action. The more she tackled the challenges, the more she discovered her own strength. Every meeting with the lawyer, every conversation with Jake's friends, felt like a building block to not just honoring Jake, but also reclaiming a sense of purpose lost in the darkness. The process was emotionally wrenching, yet it provided a certain clarity. Sarah researched nonprofits, piecing together a vision that encapsulated Jake's dreams of academic advancements and community support. She wanted the foundation to echo the laughter and aspirations he carried, to be an enduring testament to the kindness he had shown during his brief life. Each step along the way brought her that much closer to the woman she had always envisioned being, someone who could lead and empower others, someone Jake would be proud of. Meanwhile, her family adapted as well. The chaos of handling the trust and the legal claims forced them to confront not only Jake's legacy, but their own frail connections. Her mother came over frequently, helping Sarah organize documents, and in those moments of shared labor, they found common ground again, a glimmer of old memories reigniting their bond. Matt started attending meetings with her, brainstorming ideas for the foundation. The tension from before was slowly dissolving, like ice under the warm sun. One Saturday, they gathered to review the mission statements of the foundation, handing one another suggestions and memories of Jake that could guide their goal. The conversation flowed with a sense of unity that had long eluded them. "This is about helping those who are struggling, just like Jake did," Matt remarked, driving home the importance of community support and involvement. "I want to reach out to schools and offer scholarships," Sarah announced with fervor, her heart swelling with pride. Jake dreamed of being an educator, inspiring others just like he always did with his friends. As the conversations filled the room, so did laughter, genuine, unforced laughter, as stories spilled forth about Jake's antics and dreams. Each chuckle built invisible bridges where once there was only resentment. The more they reminisced, the more they realized how they had drifted apart in their grief, and now they had the opportunity to come together in Jake's name, to cultivate something lasting. The definitive turning point happened when they received an email from the attorney representing the group claiming the trust. The lawyer's words were cloaked in arrogance, demanding a settlement that felt like an insult to Jake's memory. Instead of succumbing to anger, the family collectively decided to confront the challenge as a united front. They drafted a response guided by a resolve so powerful it knocked the lawyer's expectations to the ground. Sarah felt the shift in her family. Their hesitation was gone, replaced by a fierce protective instinct. When they finally stepped into the courtroom for the hearing, Sarah stood resolutely beside her family. No longer was she the vulnerable daughter. She was a fierce advocate for her son's legacy. The judge's presence marked the beginning of a new chapter, thrusting them all into a space of authenticity and recognition. Daring to voice their commitment, they articulated their desire to create the foundation, advocating the need for it as a better alternative to the claims that threatened to tarnish Jake's memory. The legal case concluded with the judge's decision favoring their explanation of how the funds were to honor Jake's legacy, echoing their firm commitment to elevate his memory instead of allowing it to be reduced to monetary gain. The moment ushered in a wave of triumph, a sense of validation that rippled through Sarah. In that courtroom, she embraced a profound realization. Not only had they won the right to manage the trust and honor Jake, but they had also reclaimed their identities in the process. Each family member had grown, their stories intertwined into a beautiful tapestry of resolved grief and shared vision. As they stepped outside, sunlight flooded the space, casting away the last remnants of darkness. For the first time in months, Sarah felt heavy burdens lift, replaced by a palpable sense of belonging and recognition among her family. With a flourish, her mind visioned the foundation, not only as a living homage to Jake, but as a sanctuary meant to uplift others. They were together, a family moving forward, united by love and the memory of the son they had all cherished. Sarah inhaled deeply, the weight of loss transforming into a fierce pride that surged. In reclaiming her son's legacy, she had found her voice, her purpose, and in that, she had stitched together the bonds of family that they thought had been lost. This was not just the end of a conflict, it was the glorious beginning of something new. And now, do you want to experience more of these emotional triumphs? Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories of personal overcoming and fierce resilience. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the message of hope. Comment your reactions and theories about this powerful resolution. We want to hear how you relate to Sarah's journey. And remember, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Now is the moment to show your support for stories that inspire. Don't wait even one more second.